Alright, so here is our incredibly disappointed post-run kind of look at the car. Not that the car didn't do well, referring to, she didn't perform as well as she could, but more so that I once again went back to my hometown fair, if you will, fair close to where I grew up. It's one Mom always took us to, where the derbies, where I first watched pretty much all my derbies until I was a teenager. But disappointing because I went back there, and for the fourth straight time I've gone there, it's where my first derby was. This is the fourth time we went there with the third car. I took myself out, in essence. It was something I did while building, and that's disappointing. Car ran, good. There was quite a few of us. I think there was around 16 of us out there. It's not a really big pit, so it gets tight out there, but you can see walking around, telling you, these cruisers, they just don't really fold up much. This damage here was pretty much after I was out, and two of the guys that were left were right beside me, and the one guy was so beat up that he was just kind of going forward and back, couldn't really see, and he kept ramming me as much as he was hitting the other guy. But he ended up winning. He had a great derby. His car was so smashed up, I can't believe it was still running. That thing was impressive. So really not a lot of damage. The track was just starting to open up whenever I went out, and what took me out was my battery. It's my fault, I say. I mean, sometimes, a battery goes bad or whatever it might be, but it's my fault because the morning of the derby, and it's just an old battery, it's been down a cell for probably about half a year, but it's still ran perfectly fine. So I just kept charging it the night before a derby to make sure it was like fully charged. I've got a lot of sunlight here. Before I went into the derby, and did the same this time, and seemed fine, but the morning of the derby fired up the car, and I said to my wife, I said, it kind of fired up funny, like it was hard turning over, and it shouldn't be that hard with the fully charged battery. I almost called a couple guys I know, a couple buddies that are in derbies that weren't going to this derby I knew, and asked them if I could snatch their battery, and I should have. The other thing that's kind of on me, and I said to my wife, this one though is more so just happened. Look underneath the hood, and our paint design, we were real happy with it. It looked really cool, so at least one thing went our way. But again, up here you can see there's no damage at all, but my radiator did pop right down the seam there. There was just a tiny dribble of water and antifreeze coming out. I kind of had a mixture because I didn't drain it, and I just added water to it before the derby when I was running it. But I said to my wife, I said, well, I'm likely to get bumped up front and pressed into it in the first 5, maybe 7 minutes anyways, so that's not a huge deal. And the radiator did just pop to where it, steam went everywhere. It's the first time it's happened to me. Steam went everywhere. It was kind of splashing into me. I said to my brother, I was like, man, it got a little hot there for a minute, but it was kind of a unique experience. But that started to make my motor run hotter, and like they say, motor runs hotter, it's going to start pulling on that battery more, and that's what's happening. The track just finally opened up. I was able to get out of the side as I was trying to be smart and keep my front end to the side, make a couple runs, but wait till the track opened up a little when a couple guys went out, that you could really start getting runs on guys and getting good hits. And I drove to the other side, put it in reverse, was about to go at a guy that was on the other side that was kind of, him and I just kept bumping into each other. I couldn't get away from him. He was annoying me, to be honest. And it stalled. And whenever I went to start it, it was dead. There was nothing in the battery. And I was like, oh my goodness. So I didn't get hit, didn't get knocked out, didn't have any wiring go or anything like that. The toggle switch worked fine, although I made a little toggle switch video just to try to help people that are like me that don't know. But I just used that toggle switch there from AutoZone. I had a couple guys I know talking to them at the Derby said use light switches because they're meant to take 120 volts, which is more than that guy I guess is, unless you buy a super high performance toggle switch. And if that guy gets wet or moisture around it, it is more likely to short out to where those 120 volt house ones shouldn't. So that's what he said. It made sense to me, so probably actually switch that. And they also want it up on the dash, which I didn't do, so do that next time. So again, disappointing. but not the car's fault. The demolition noob builder's fault. I guess I'm earning my name, so we're still learning lessons here in our 3rd year in. But today gonna try to get a radiator from the scrap zone Patterson's near us, or not scrap zone, but auto wrecking Patterson is what they're called near us, and I'm gonna get a new battery. They sell batteries there too. They're like 35-40 bucks, but they test, they test them. They're all good. And I'm pretty sure when we put it in and fire up, she's gonna fire up. So I'll put that at the end of this video, and we're gonna run her this Saturday if that is the case, and I think it will be. Just beat out that door a little bit, and that's pretty much it. She's gonna go as is, and we're gonna try to give her a proper run. So we'll see what happens. Again, disappointing, but it was still fun, and I still love. Still think I came out with a cool looking car. So we'll see if we can do a better job the next run.